All right, welcome in to our Pro-Member Design Coven mini workshop today and group coaching. I am going to share a couple things. I don't know if either one of you, and I know people that are going to be watching later, have done custom pillows, window treatments, bedding, or COM. Is that anything that you've not yet? Okay. And are you guys aware or know what that is? Nicole says yes. Okay. Well, I will go over it a little bit just in case somebody hasn't. Angelica?
Oh, yes, I have. It's just been a while, so I'm
Oh, okay.
getting a refresher.
Yay. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to share my screen. Basically, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to share what COM is, custom bedding, custom window. We're not going to do window treatments. We've done that before. Custom pillows and how you can make money there because that is a huge space where you can definitely make a profit because you're selling fabric, which you're getting at a huge discount because you can get it at a trade-only showroom where your client does not have access to purchase direct. And you're selling product that they also can't shop. I mean, unless they go somewhere, but they're not going to be able to get this custom thing. And that's part of why having an interior designer that's a benefit to them is they're going to be able to get access to custom products that you can't just buy off the shelf. So the idea is that you're going to get a client that wants things that are tailored just for them, something that no one else can get, that their neighbor can't get at Home Goods or West Elm or whatever, that they're going to have something tailored to them. And if you've got a client that this isn't a thing for, you can shop there. But we really want to elaborate on bespoke, custom, everything when you work with a designer. Like these are the level of clients that you want. So I want to share with you these options that you have in front of you because you are a designer. So I'm going to share my screen and let you, we're going to go over some of these different key terms and what they are. And we're going to go to the top here. Oh, I'm already at that. So custom bedding, if you don't know this, you can have duvet covers made, comforters made, quilts made, throws made, throw pillows made, all those things, and you can select the exact fabric that you want for each one of those. So, and you can have those made at a local workroom like Stitch. Linda does all my custom bedding or you can do it through someone like Krabbit, which is to the trade only. So I'm going to show you the Krabbit order. What you would do is log into your Krabbit account online, and then there's a place where you can just hit search, and I would just search custom bedding, and it'll give you these different options. So if we go into duvet cover, so duvet cover is where you have an insert. It could be a feather down insert or an alternative down insert. And the duvet cover is the cover that goes over the insert, which I really love. It just has a very luxurious hotel-like feel to it. So then you go in and you choose your size. So of course you've got a day bed, a twin. I'm surprised there's not a twin XL. Um, there should be a twin XL, and if not, if Krabbit can't do it, I would go through Stitch. A full size, a queen, a super queen, and these are the dimensions too, so that you can look and see what all these are. The king is going to be your Eastern king size, and an Eastern king is what most people are going to have unless you're here in California. Then we do have a cow king, and then there's a super king, which I've never had to spec that out. But a regular king or an Eastern king is the most popular. California king, you'll get more in Southern California. So let's just go into the king. And then what you're going to do is you're going to select your fabric. Do you know what up the bolt versus railroad means on fabric? I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to go back to my slide because there's a better picture here of what that is. So if we go, and we'll go back to all this. So if you look, this is up the bolt. It says up the belt is what they call it, but it's up the bolt. So this is the way the fabric comes off the bolt. So if you, it's really important if you have a pattern. So to give you an example, this comes off the bolt in this direction. So if you want the striation, which is horizontal, it's up the bolt. If you do it so that you want it to be vertical, then you have to turn the bolt to the side, and now the fabric just keeps going into affinity in this direction, which is going to give you a vertical pattern. Now, one thing you need to think about is seams. If you go up the bolt with this fabric, which is what I did on a bench seat, it's only 54 inches wide, and each fabric you'll need to look and see how wide it is. That means you're going to have a seam. Do you see this sofa? It's not 54 inches wide. You're going to have seams somewhere. So you need to let the client be aware, if you do pick a fabric like this and you want it to go horizontal, you're going to have seams. There's no way to not have a seam because your fabric is only this wide. If you don't want seams, you're going to want to run it railroad. So now you're going in this direction. Does that make sense? And as long as this isn't wider than 54 inches, your seam will be at a right location that makes sense, is probably what your client is going to expect. So you have to know this, otherwise you're going to get a sofa with seams, you're going to get the fabric going in the wrong direction. So that's really, really extremely important to know. This is like beginner's mistake pitfall right here, if you don't know those two differences. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that. Same thing with like when you're making pillows, you want to know what direction your fabric is going. Okay. So let me get back out of here and go back to the Crabbit website. So this is, you hit the duvet cover, then it gets you here. So it's showing you up the bolt. So these are your seams, your fabric seams when they're sewing. This is the seam going in this direction. Okay. So let's say we want to do a railroad. See, it'll point out here. This is your seam. So this is the face of the fabric. This is what you see. The back of the fabric is what you see. It's the back, right? So a pillow, this is the face, and you might have another fabric that's the back. Face, back. Same thing with a duvet cover. And then you can have, you know, zipper, you can have, what are those, buttons. So here's where you will put the exact item number for your face. So if you're doing it on the Crabbit website and you do the Crabbit fabric, it makes it super easy because then you just type in your actual fabric number. So let's say I want this fabric, it's 3329161.
Question about the railroading.
Yes,
When you're looking at this, like the sample, and it says the pattern is railroaded,
the sample won't tell you it's railroaded.
it won't tell you it's railroaded.
And
Okay.
this is how it comes off the bolt.
Okay.
When you see it like this, it means the
Okay. Yeah,
pattern.
that's what that. Yeah, that's what it. So meaning that when you roll it out, it's 54 from 54 is across horizontal, right? Okay.
54 is this way, it rolls
Okay.
off the bolt into, you know,
Got
however
it.
many yards can be on a bolt.
Okay, cool.
So if you want to railroad it, so if you're looking at this comes off the bolt and you want to railroad it because you want it vertical, or you want to railroad it because you don't want seams, but then you have a vertical pattern. So this, I wanted this. So I'm doing a bench seat. I'm going to have seams because this is more important to me, having the horizontal versus the seams. When you do something like this, that's no repeat, it doesn't matter. So then I would railroad this so that I don't have a seam because the pattern doesn't matter.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's just actually let's put this one in. And then we're gonna pick a color. I don't know why that didn't come in, but. And then you'll pick another one for the back. And then they offer the insert. So if you can, I would recommend getting the insert from them because it's going to fit perfectly. And you just go through the prompts and then it will, a plain knife edge is just a simple seam, like this would be a knife edge, like just clean. You can add cording, you can add trim, you can add welts, you can add fringe, like there's a million different things that you can do, you know, to customize this. And then you just keep going through the prompts, and it will take you all the way through. And then there's a review that will show you all the things. And then you want to put in your account number, your email, like side mark. Side mark is just the name of your project. So what I would do for my side mark is I would put my client's last name and then the room that it's in, so that when you get this in the mail or when you're not like, oh yeah, this is the Baker project, but is it, which bedroom was this? So it's very clear. So I would do Baker and then I would do the room. So you just want to be really detailed when you submit these things. So this is the Kravit order form. Do you have any questions on any of that? It's pretty self-explanatory and it kind of takes you through the prompts. We're good. Okay. The next area is pillows. So again, you can make a lot of money on pillows. I sold, what was that pillow cost? I think it did $5,000 in pillows and it was 7 pillows. So I made a lot of money on that because I was picking fabric that was like a $700 a yard fabric. And you know, you get 50% off on that. So you're able to sell it to your client for retail. You're able to charge procurement on top of all of that. So you make a ton in this space. And then Kravit, same thing. They have an online order form that you would choose from. If you don't want to buy this through Kravit, and let's say you wanted to pick a fabric from 2 different companies. So you have a fabric from Kravit and you have a fabric from like Harsey and Harsey, then I would definitely go through a local showroom. I'm going to show you a form that Baker does. Baker is a vendor or a line that only sells to designers, and you can go through a showroom if you don't have an account. So this is the order form. They're going to ask you for all your info. The purchase order is your personal purchase order from your company to Baker. So when you create an invoice, you convert the invoice into a purchase order. The purchase order is your purchase agreement between you and the vendor. And here's like, I liked this form because you can see all the options that you can do with pillows. So with Baker, there are some limitations because they only give you these sizes. If you work through a local workroom, you can do any custom size you want. So if you wanted it to be 33 inches by 12 inches, which is what I'm having made now, you can do that. But I wanted you to see the different type of pillows. So here is a knife edge pillow. It's a standard edge. You can have contrasting welt, which means you'd have a welt that has a different fabric. You can have a cord, which is it's almost like a trim. I don't have a piece of it. You can have fringe, you can have decorative tape. There's like so many things you can do in this. And then also when you are ordering with your workroom, you'll tell them what kind of fill you want. If you want it down, if you want it poly, if you want an alternative down. So you give them all those options and they'll make the fill whatever size you want. This is a box border square pillow. So you can see now, if you wanted, you can have a fabric on the face, you can have a different fabric on the back, and you can have a different fabric boxing around the pillow. And then you could put cording, you could put welt, you could put fringe, you could do all those things. This is a knife edge with a welt. So that's what a welt looks like. And you can self-welt, which means that it will take the same fabric and you can welt the fabric. You can make a welt out of this. So then the edge is the same as that. Or you could do a contrast welt, or maybe your pillow is all beige and then you do a contrast welt with another fabric in the green, and then maybe that fabric is the duvet cover. So super, super custom. More pillows. You know, you can do these bolsters. This one had a flange on it, so it's a, you know, a floppy piece of fabric. You can do tufting. You can also, you know, create panels. So you can have one fabric in the center, another fabric out here. It's different. Same thing with this. This is where you can get even more creative with the mitered. These are mitered seams. And then you can also do custom headboards. So Kravet does have a program where you can pick a headboard and then you pick the fabric that goes on it. So like this, you can do custom fabric. So you can have a fabric. This is where you would see like in those homes that have like the toile fabric on the headboard, the same toile pattern on the duvet, toile pillows, and then the wallpaper is the exact same pattern, where you're getting all these layers of the exact same pattern that has this particular look, which is really fun. So that's how you do all this by doing all this custom. It's not like you just go into West Elm and you go, okay, I'm going to get the wallpaper, I'm going to get the headboard, I'm going to get the duvet, and it's all the same pattern. So it's completely customizable. So these are all, you know, tufting, no tufting, curved tops, simple, you know, and you also pick like the leg. Oops. You also pick the leg. So if you want it tapered and then you pick the color of the wood, you can have nail trim. There's all kinds of things that you can do. And then Kravet, the same thing, like on their website, you can go and do a custom headboard and pick your exact fabric and all the things that you want. With Baker or with your workroom, where you can even work with an upholsterer that makes headboards, you'll have to ship the fabric to the upholsterer, and that's called COM. So COM stands for customer's own material. You can do fabric, I'm sorry, you can do leather as well. So leather is a little bit more complicated because you have to buy the leather by the hide. So you're buying full hides, and you'll have to know how big the hide is, or approximately, so that you can tell your upholsterer how big these hides are. And then they will tell you, you need to buy 3 hides. And you want to buy it all at once, so it's all in the same dye lot. Same thing with fabric. You need to buy everything at once so that you're not getting different dye lots. These are 2 different dye lots. There is a slight difference. You probably won't be able to tell on the screen, but there is color variation. So if you're doing a sofa and one cushion is in this dye lot and the other cushion's in that dye lot, you're gonna look at it weird and be like, are they matching? Like, what's going on? So making sure that all that is in the same lot. It means the same dye lot means that they're all dyed together at the same time. Even though you have the same formula, they can shift dramatically. So yeah,
Rachel?
yeah,
I have 2 questions.
yeah.
First is your rule of thumb also with fabric to order an extra 15%?
No, I will give so this is really important. So you need to give whoever's making the pillow the width of the yardage, the repeat. So they're going to know, oh, this has a giant repeat. It's every 27 inches horizontal is a new repeat, and every vertical is 27. And they know to match the pattern on each back cushion exactly the same, and to have the pattern match. And your person will then tell you how many yards to get because they're doing the math.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just a side note, like I was ordering wall covering for a client and my rep was like, I can't tell you how much to order, and it was this whole thing. So I ended up, and then their installer was lazy, so I ended up doing all the calculations for wall covering, which was a good learning lesson.
Yeah, your installer needs to give you that information.
Yeah, he was lazy. Anyways,
I would take
so, and then my next question is, have you ever designed like a custom sofa? So I know like there's a lot of, you're getting sofas reupholstered or whatever, but are there companies out there that you can select the frame, for example, and then you do your COM?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Kravet has an amazing program where you can build your own sofa. So, and
Oh,
what's
cool.
nice is
Okay.
you can go and sit on those sofas and then just say, okay, we're going to change the arm from a track arm to a rolled arm. We're going to change the leg to this little thing. We're going to do a single, tight back, single cushion, or we're going to do 2 seat cushions. We're going to do leather down. Or you're going to be tight or it's going to be firm. So you'll be able to completely customize that all together.
Very cool. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
And same thing with like their chairs, their ottomans, like you can change sizes. Same thing with the sofas, you can change sizes. It's super customizable. And then I'm going to show you American Leather. They do it as well. So they do COM and then they also can customize. So you can pick all the different things. So this is their order form. So when you go, I just did this recently. Because the fabric that we initially wanted from them was discontinued and the client was stuck on it. So then I was like, okay, well, let me try to find a fabric that's very similar to that, which is what this is. So, so we found one. So now she ended up spending, I think, an extra $3,000 to do her own fabric. So when you're buying a sofa with COM, you're buying the sofa at a certain grade. And there's different grades. It could be a grade A all the way to grade Z. And grade A is one price point and grade Z is a higher price point. And your COM is going to not be A. I think it's more like second or third in. It'll have a bracket for COM. So it's exact same price as if they were to supply a grade C fabric or you provide your own fabric. So just know that it's not like it's cheaper to give your fabric, it's actually more. And you have to buy the fabric on top of that. So if you look here, it'll tell you, and they will tell you as well, like how much yardage you need based on the repeat and the size of the fabric. And they give you like all your necessary thing here. COM yardage has to be one continuous piece of fabric. So that means they're not going to work with fabric where Kravitz like, oh, you know what, you need 17 yards of fabric. I've got 1 cut of 7 yards and I've got 1 cut of 10. It needs to be 1 full cut of 17. So that they're not trying to piecemeal it together. That way they have control of where things get cut because certain things have to get cut at certain sizes. COL, again, full hides only. You have to buy a whole hide. And they talk about, so sometimes things come in damage, which happens all the time. Usually they'll let you know. So if they'll pull out the yardage and they'll see like there's a flaw. They'll let you know, hey, there's a flaw 5 yards in. You need to reorder. So that happens a lot. So then we have to call Kravet, let them know where the flaw is, send them photos, and then they will send you a return ticket to ship that yardage back. So you send that to American Leather, say, hey, here's the shipping ticket, send it back. We're sending out a new order of fabric. And sometimes it's on back order. Sometimes it's been discontinued. So then you might have to reselect. And none of this goes into production until they get your fabric. So they're not going to hold a frame for you, and put you in line. Once your fabric comes in, then you start being in the queue. So just things to think about with lead times. This is an extremely longer process because you have to order the fabric, get the confirmation, get a CFA. A CFA is a cut for approval, which is what this is. So I selected this fabric. They're going to send me an actual cutting from the current dye lot that's happening right now. And they're going to send this to you. I always ask for the CFA. I always want to see what's coming out, and making sure that the right fabric got ordered and that there wasn't a mistake in their number system, because that has happened too, where they label this a certain number and then the fabric that comes in is like polka dots. and green. And I'm like, well, that's not the thing. I'm like, oh, our ticket was mislabeled. And that's going to stop you from a huge accident, from this just getting shipped directly to American Leather. They upholster it. You come back with a green polka dot sofa and you're freaking out because you're now out of pocket for that mistake. So always get the CFA. And then they don't ship out the fabric until you approve this. So once you get this, you look at it, you write them back, CFA approved, the approval goes in, then they ship out the fabric and they'll send you tracking. So always check confirmation, check CFA, check tracking, all those details. This is why you get paid for procurement, because this is a huge undertaking of project management. So when the client's like, why do I have to pay for procurement? Isn't that part of your design fee? You can explain all the details. So then that goes in and you have to let them know, do you want to up the bolt? Do you want it horizontal? And then this will tell you, this doesn't show very well, but it tells you that percentage. So when you go up the bolt like this and there's a pattern, these are like pattern numbers. It'll tell you how many percentage, how much more fabric you need to order. So if you had a pattern repeat, you might have to, and it's a big repeat, you're going to have to order like 30% more fabric versus something like this. So something like this would be 17 yards. You have a repeat, that's 30%. Now you're ordering like 22 yards. So those are other things to think about when you're selecting fabric, knowing somebody's on a budget. Don't suggest like a giant repeat, like do that repeat on a pillow with a pattern. Don't do it on the sofa because your sofa is now going to be $15,000. So here's the order form. The dealer is who you're purchasing from, your account number, the dealer PO. So, all of that, the dates, side mark again, client's name. And then they're asking all the details of the COM. This is applied to the pillow. This is applied to the bench seat. This is applied to the back. So they want to know this is applied to the sides. Like, where is this fabric going? Up the bolt, railroaded. The repeat details, it's a flower pattern. Make sure that it's going in the right direction. And then I cut out, that's why this is cut up. I cut out a swatch and attach it to the form. And same thing, like when you work with a local workroom, I would create a form like this and cut out your swatches of fabric to the page, like staple it and hand it to Linda. So now she's got something to cross-reference and be like, oh, that fabric came in and that's green and this is supposed to be beige. So what happened? It's just like all these safety precautions because things will get made incorrectly. So then you can keep going with all your COM, all your CLL. And then this is the shipping label that Kravet needs to put on the fabric going to American Leather, because American Leather is going to get fabric shipped to them, bolts of fabric, and they're going to be like, well, what is this? Like, what am I doing with this? If there's nothing labeled on it and they're just getting fabric, they don't even know who you are. They see it's from Kravet, but they don't know that you're the designer. They don't know what project it is. So it has to be labeled. So you're going to have it sent to American Leather in Texas, and then they're going to attach this shipping label to the fabric in Kravet that's like in Georgia. So you're going to put your company name, phone number, email, the customer's name, your purchase order. This is coming from Kravet. This is the pattern number. This is the color number. This is how many, square feet or yardage is on there. And then this gets attached. So you have to send this to Kravet, say, hey, this order that I just placed with you, order number, blah, 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 needs to have this shipping label attached to it so that they can mirror them, match them together. These forms here get given to your rep at American Leather, and this gets turned in with your order. So they're going to place an order for a COM sofa, and this is the details of the fabric that's going on it. So they're going to match this order form with the fabric that's coming in the mail. Any questions on that? Good. But you can see things can get complicated fast, but there is a lot of profit to be made in this section of your business. And that was the main stuff. Hopefully that was all good. And if you do come into a custom order, this is where you can, set up a meeting with me one-on-one if you wanted, or you can always, contact your rep and have them walk you through it. Same thing with Lindette Stitch. She can walk you through what you need in order to make sure that everything's being ordered correctly. But things can get crossed, things can get lost. There's a lot of moving parts in that piece, but there's also a lot of money to be made. So even though it's very complicated, I wouldn't shy away from it. I definitely would step into it because you can make more money here than sometimes on your design fee. If you don't have any questions on there, I'm open for this next few, this time to answer any other questions if you guys have stuff in regards to your business. And if not, then we can close early. It's up to you. We're all good?
I was seeing if I could think of anything, but I don't do.
As I was thinking, thank you
Oh,
for that
yeah, me for free.
refresher though. Thank you for that
Yes, super
refresher though. You bring
informative.
back so many like flashbacks of memories of things like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Um,
because you've done many of this, I'm sure, before.
yeah, yeah, I was the furniture manager in the designer showroom. So
Yeah.
there's so many things that yeah. I remember sometimes with some vendors, like you have to specifically say, can you pattern match at the seams? Because sometimes they won't automatically do it and it makes it look really off, So
Yeah.
yeah, so many different little things to think about.
Did you have something, Nicole?
Nope, but
Okay.
thank you. Super informative.
Cool. And then this recording will be in there, so you can always rewatch that too if you get stuck and you're like, what was the thing again? Alrighty.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So have a good Friday.
Thank
And
you, you too.
yeah, you're welcome. And then we've got co-working on the 10th, which will be at Bivouac. And I'm working on some more like showroom tours with some new vendors and people that we haven't gone to their showroom to get get some more resources for us. So I think that'll be really fun. And then we've got a really cool workshop happening in May with florals. So, and if there's anything that you guys are looking to learn about or know of a vendor that we should check out, let me know so that we can create an experience there.